Hey, welcome to Ask Better Questions. I've just been sitting here for about 10 minutes contemplating what the heck to say and feeling extremely uncomfortable with getting in front of a camera. And it's pretty hilarious because all I do all day long is just think about what kind of questions to ask. And if I was to give credit to the single biggest impact that's happened in my life, it's been through asking myself and those around me better questions. And my wife's bored of me asking questions about questions. And so this is why this channel exists, is that maybe there is one person watching, and it might be you, who hasn't necessarily been asking all of the right questions of themselves and those around them, and is not in the position in life where they would like to be. And don't get me wrong, I think that a little bit of dissatisfaction is an extremely healthy thing. We eat when we're hungry, we drink when we're thirsty, we sleep when we're tired, and we grow and change and improve when we have a bit of dissatisfaction. So it's a great thing. I do believe that questions hold within them the absolute power to create the best possible life that we can live. And that comes from this brilliant formula for happiness that I heard relatively recently. It's all the same stuff over time, which is that happiness equals your perceived circumstance minus your expectations. And if we're able to find a way to improve the perception of our current circumstances or decrease or more accurately gauge our expectations, then we're able to net a life that has a little bit more happiness. All emotions are important, but rambling aside, ask better questions. That's our goal. And so in this video, the opening premise was just to introduce myself, the channel, and the goal. And so my name is Summer. I have worked around a range of different jobs and titles and stuff, but it's always been involving humans and people and interacting and balancing the interaction part and the social part with a lot of work around systems, operationalizing things, improving the efficiency of things. And every single interaction that I've noticed looking back does come down to the quality of the questions that I ask about the thing that I might be selling or communicating or trying to improve. And when I think back to my childhood and growing up, I was exposed to people who didn't ask many questions, and they asked low quality questions. And so their volume and their quality were low. And what I saw and said, what I mirrored and modeled from my upbringing was to answer without any questions and with as much context, kind of like thinking out loud as possible. And so I did that, obviously. And over time, as I began to experience that dissatisfaction with my current life and circumstance, I started to question things. And I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, Richard Kiyosaki, oh my gosh, one of those two. And that was the first time that I started asking questions about my belief system and about the questions that I asked of the world. And it was a really pivotal moment for me personally. And so maybe there is someone who is watching this who is not necessarily happy with where they are right now. And maybe that happiness is behind a few better questions. And maybe it isn't. But the point being, asking better questions leads to an improved quality of life. And that's my belief. And I also believe that there is a perfect question for every single scenario. And so working on the anatomy of your questions, working on how your questions make others feel, and listening to how you feel when others ask you questions is a skill that I believe every single human being could benefit from. And so the goal of this channel is to be able to help improve the skill of those who choose to watch it of asking better questions of themselves and of those around them. So for the first portion of today, I think the first thing that I'll speak about is the simplest concept of asking a question, which is whether you're asking an open or a closed question. And I will leave with one very simple, very actionable exercise that you could experiment with. And so that first thing is, okay, open or closed questions. And so the easiest way to think about this is, does my question allow them room to expand, or does it make them contract? Is the answer to my question a yes or a no? So it could be thought of as a Boolean, this or that, A or B, yes or no. Or is it looking for more context? Is it open-ended, allowing them to share more deeply, share a little bit of information that you can then gather? And there is a goal for both questions. And also both questions leave people feeling a different way. And so it's not about not doing one of them, and one isn't better than the other. They're simply contextually dependent upon the conversation and the scenario. And so the exercise here is not to change anything that you're doing. The exercise, and you can choose one of two things, is A, you can do exercise number 1, and that is simply counting how many questions do you ask versus how many questions does the person that you're talking to ask in the next interaction or few interactions that you have. And so all you're doing is measuring a question ratio. If you already are someone that asks questions, which is great, the second exercise is to measure your own ratio of open to closed questions and start to think about, oh, wow, I asked 10 questions in that conversation and 9 of them were closed. That's really interesting. What was I trying to get at? And so they're the two exercises that I would leave you with. I wanted to keep these videos under 10 minutes and be able to extrapolate and provide real life scenarios that I come across and then break down, hey, what kind of questions are we asking? And then as a goal here, I want you to be able to take this exercise and just try and apply it. My hypothesis here, what I think is going to happen, is underpinned by the statement, what gets measured gets managed, right? Or what gets measured improves. And the idea is that if you start to look at something and measure it, automatically you will start to adjust. And so we want to start measuring and just flexing that muscle a little bit. And in our next video, we can start to dig into questions, different kinds of questions, and most importantly, if you're asking them of yourself and those around you. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. Choose exercise A or exercise B and comment below with your results.